Y así arranca la primera parte de este programón del día de la fecha, así arranca el primer Es Esto, la fábrica del día de hoy, esta sección en donde lo que hacemos es hablar de la industria de la música, esta actividad que hace un par de años, un puñadito de años nada más, precisaba de barcos, de aviones, de container para llevar de un lado al otro todo lo referido a la industria de la música y ha cambiado una bocha, han aparecido las redes digitales, aparecimos nosotros, Raulo, y para hablar de todos estos cambios es que nos nutrimos de diferentes diálogos, hemos hablado con músicos, hemos hablado con organizadores de festivales, con productores, con sonidistas y con un montón de gente. Y hoy nos vamos para Estados Unidos para hablar con los amigos de 157 FRQ que ya están conectados con nosotros. Hi my friend, here is Manu, there is Raulo, are you listening me good?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Excellent my friend. Okay, that's gonna happen now. I'm gonna leave you with my friend Raulo. He speaks English much better than me, and he's gonna make the question we make all bands from all parts of the world, and later we're gonna talk about from the present of the band, okay?
Cool. Yeah, sounds good.
Excelente, Raulo, todo tuyo.
Sí, perfect. Thanks. Look,
y así arriba,
sí. Look how our faces shock. We are really happy to meet, hardcore and really extreme metal bands. We love these kind of things. So thanks for your time, and we are going to start with the interview, okay?
Yeah, man, sounds good. I'm glad you guys like it. Let's go.
Okay. So please tell us your full name, where are you from, and how old are you?
My name is Jack. I'm from Midwest America, Michigan, and sorry, what was that? What was the third thing?
You just woke up, no? It's early.
Yeah. I'm just waking up. It's about it's a little past 10 a.m. for me right now.
Okay. How old are you?
I am 27 years old.
27, perfect. And can you tell us which is your first memory of you listening to music?
Man, it was, I think I was like 5 years old. I first found Disturbed. My stepfather, he worked shows for a living, and he just come home with like all kinds of memorabilia from concerts and stuff. And I remember he came home with like a Disturbed t-shirt or something like that. And Disturbed was like my very first like heavy band that I ever got into. So,
do you remember the CD or the album? Which one was?
I couldn't even tell you what. I think it was like a flyer.
Okay.
Like like how Disturbed has like their mascot that they call the guy with like the hood and the scary eyes. Sure. I think like they came home with like a flyer for one of their new records or something that was coming out at the time, and I was like, 5-year-old me is like, that's fucking badass. So,
Excellent.
So.
Nice. I really love Disturbed, but they have it's like a first part of Disturbed. It has a particular sound, and after they became really heavy, really heavy. That's why it's incredible. It's a really nice band. And can you tell us which was your first instrument and which was the first song that you learned?
The first, I'm a drummer by heart. Okay. Like I've been playing drums since I was 5 years old. I only like just got on a microphone like 157. I never even, funny enough, I never wanted to be the vocalist. I did it more out of necessity, just because I was already writing all the music and all the lyrics, and so being the frontman was never like the part of the vision until like much later, and so. My first instrument, I was a drummer, and then I didn't get into like guitar and bass until I was like 12 or 13 or something like that. And then the first song I ever learned on drums was Bodies by Drowning Pool.
Ooh.
That was, yeah.
The bodies flew.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like I had learned like parts of other songs just because I had been in drum lessons my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really ever remember a time that I didn't sit behind the drum kit and know exactly what I was doing. You know what I mean? So, it was just when kids are learning music, typically it's like you learn like Back in Black, and you learn like all like the all those types of songs that are just like stupid easy to learn. But then like Bodies by Drowning Pool was like the first song that I ever learned like note for note, hit for hit. I could play it front to back a million times, and I knew it like the back of my hand. I think I was like 10 or something like that, 9 maybe.
And I have a kind of personal question, because I'm a big metal fan too. But I'm over 40. But when I was a kid, you have a black t-shirt, I have a black t-shirt. We are friends, In Michigan, it happens for yourself. It happens more or less the same or not?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
No. You have only metal friends, or you have sports friends? You mix with all kind of people, or only heavy metal?
Yeah, I mean, growing up the way that I did around music, I didn't really get friends in the alternative space until I was a teenager. Okay. Just because I was in second grade listening to Slipknot and all the new metal stuff, and all the kids I was growing up with were Selena Gomez, Justin Bieber, they cared about all the Disney Channel stuff, and I was definitely kind of the black sheep of the flock growing up around all that. And
no, ¿cómo va de influence? No, heavy metal, Manu, por favor, no. It's not about the influence of the heavy metal, don't say that.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I kind of, nowadays I have, I got a bunch of different friends in a bunch of different spaces. I got friends that mostly obviously are into metal just because that's just what I surround myself with naturally through writing this type of music and all that. That's just the path. But I got upon coworkers that I vibe with and stuff like that, I got friends that aren't into the metal stuff as much, but it's I love them just the same.
Perfect. I love them.
Here in Argentina we say that metalheads are good people pretending to be bad, and hippies are bad people pretending to be good people.
I would agree. I would agree with that to a certain degree. I don't like to generalize, but I've worked many EDM shows that I've just seen a lot of the shit that goes on. And it's just it's not, like I say, I don't like to generalize, but it's pretty predatory. You know what I mean? I've watched some shit happen, and I'm just wow, this would literally never happen in a room full of metalheads that never shower.
Exactly. See, it's personal. Don't problem with that. It's our opinion. No.
Metalhead always will give you a hand if you fall in the mosh pit, in the pogo.
Yeah, 90% of the time, man. It's because at the end of the day, man, people are going to these shows. It's a lot of the time it's all they have. It's all a lot of us have to look forward to. It's just I just got to make it to the weekend. I just got to make it through this day of work, and then I can we can go have some fun. And it's you just leave all that bullshit at the door. So it's if you're coming to shows and you're targeting people and shit, it's kind of just you got some problems.
Exactly.
So it's that's kind of something I've always loved about metal is the community is the obviously you have your fair share of assholes and fake motherfuckers and stuff like that, but it's a lot of there is a lot of community that, and I've always identified with it because, especially I was a new metal kid, you know what I mean? And new metal back in the day it was about the expressionism, and it was either you loved it and you understood it, or you didn't get it and you hated it. And so it was I think that especially now, in the modern day, new metal is kind of being funneled into other genres, and that's been a thing since I would say 2012, you know what I mean? So it's with new metal becoming less of an actual genre and more not just a genre I should say, but more of an influence in other genres. It's you see a lot of that expressionism being kind of displayed in other music and other stuff like that. So it's kind of metal is kind of music for the weirdos, you know what I mean? So it's yeah. Sorry for that little tangent.
No, we are metal fans, so it's okay what you're saying. We agree completely. It's a big reunion, the metal, the heavy metal concert and that kind of things. Can you tell us how do you say the name of the band? 157 FRQ 157, and why you named like that?
Well, first off, you know, a lot of people, we get a lot of questions just because, you know, is it 157, 157? I kind of am just like, say it however the hell you want, man. As long as you like the stuff, I don't care. Like, typically, like the meta or like the way that everyone is kind of saying it is like either typically it's 157. I've heard 157 as like a second runner up. But like, you know, if you want to call us 157 and be fucking weird, then that's fine. You know what I mean? So, like we're here to make music, and you know, we're here to piss you off. We're not here to fucking sit here and like, no, you're not supposed to say our name like that. You know, as long as like if you like the music and you support us, then that's all we care about. You know what I mean? So, but as far as the origin of the name. A lot of people, of course, I expected this as soon as I thought to name the project 157. People like kind of compare us to 156 Silence a lot. I've never cared about that band. Not to say I dislike them. They were just never really been a band that I'm like, I should check them out. You know, I don't have, you know, just. I don't know, people kind of ignore how the fact that we sound absolutely nothing like them whatsoever, and we have a completely different imagery and a completely different vibe, but people see that we have two of the same numbers in our names and they're like, oh, it's a ripoff, or, you know, which that's kind of something that I dislike about the metal community is people are very narrow-minded. And I mean, I guess I shouldn't really generalize the metal community, but just in general, people hear something that is like unique that they haven't heard before, and they don't know what to do with it. If it doesn't sound like something that's already big, they're like, what the fuck, you know? And I mean, it's human nature to condemn what we don't understand, is it not?
I have to say, Manu is laughing because of that. I'm a little narrow-minded. I have to admit that. It's no problem.
Aren't we all to a degree? You know what I mean? You fucking that's only human. But yeah, no, like the real origin of 157 is the number 157 is just a number that I see everywhere. Like I'm talking billboards, license plates, fucking like even like you. Like I have like a fuck ton of videos. Like I watch a lot of YouTube. I'm really tapped in. Like I have a lot of YouTubers and stuff that I watch, and I'll like, you know, I'll just be on YouTube. And I'll just see the number 157 in like a thumbnail or like in a YouTube, you know, and it'll just show up in my recommended, like out of nowhere. And it has nothing to do with me or my band. It's just, it's one of those things that is like the universe just puts that number in front of me all the time. And I only ever started seeing that number after, not to make it all sad and shit like that, but after the passing of my father, I only started seeing that number. Ooh. And so I have no idea what relation that has to his passing, but that's just as far as timing goes, that's just kind of how that ended up. And I don't know. And I looked it up, and the angel number 157 has a lot to do with like overcoming and like learning from mistakes and kind of like overcoming milestones and like shedding your skin so you can kind of be born again as like an older, wiser, smarter version of yourself, kind of a more evolved version of yourself. And that's a lot of what I write about. And so it's like, you know, Whole is a song, you know, I don't like to tell people what my songs are about, because it's like, I like, you know, something that I want people to kind of interpret it however it helps them. But my headspace with writing Whole was kind of about realizing that I was a bad person and realizing that I had kind of like let my trauma from when I was a kid kind of eat at me until I was an adult. And now all of a sudden I have all this stupid shit that I do that I realize is wrong, but it's all I really know. So it's the song Whole is a song that is about a willingness to be better, but when you're caught in a cycle, it's really hard to escape. And so it's like, well, fuck, like I want to be a better person, but how the fuck do I even go about doing that? You know? So it's like, it's kind of about that limbo area where it's kind of, you don't exactly identify with the person you are, but you lack the tools to become the person you want to be. And so the number 157 just, it pertains to growth a lot, and that's a lot of what I write about. So that's kind of, I was like, the universe just kind of, as far as, you know, I like to put it, it just kind of put it in my lap. You know, I can't imagine having the project be named anything else. At least maybe it's just because we've been called 157 well since before drop, but even considering that, it just makes the most sense. You know what I mean? If we were, as opposed to if we dropped and we were like, what's up? We're like bleed blood, we're toxic poison. It's just the most like generic shit ever. You know, it's shit. I don't know, but yeah.
It's okay. Thanks for share. Thanks really for share that kind of things. Your thoughts, you know, with us. Thank you very much for that. See, in March of this year, you released your last EP, a world I was never part of. How was the recording process of that EP?
Long and painful and monotonous. Because, I mean, this is the first piece of music, or like this album is kind of the first piece of music that I've ever actually put out. Like I've been writing and producing since like 2019. So it's like, at least, you know, I'm not one of these guys that just has been doing this shit his whole life, and I just, you know, but at least as far as like songwriting goes, like on software and stuff like that. But the recording process, it was rewarding when, you know, but it was a lot of just like trying to find the sound, and Whole was actually kind of the blueprint for that. It was like I knew that I, like, you know, when I first started writing music, it was just like dun dun wee woo kind of stuff. It's just very generic. I didn't really know what I was doing. I knew how to like press the big red button and play my guitar, but like I didn't really know how to tap into my influences. I wasn't a songwriter. I was a drummer that had access to Reaper, basically, at the time. But, you know, the more I stuck with it, I learned what I do like and what I don't like, and I just kind of learned to tap into my natural influences. And I was like, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 bands that I grew up with and 3 bands that are modern that I really like today. And those, and my 3 classic influences, which I don't think it's going to be any secret, like any of these influences, just because we wear, you know, the music wears it on its sleeve. But the 3 influences are definitely Korn, Linkin Park, and Slipknot. And then the modern influences are early Cane Hill, My Ticket Home, and Vane FM. Which I just call them Vane, but some people are like Vane, like I've never heard of that. I'm like Vane FM. They're like, oh, okay. So, but yeah, I love like pretty much all of Linkin Park's like earlier stuff. Meteora is just like, I mean, I'm staring at a Meteora poster on my wall from 2001 or whatever right now. It's just in my opinion, it's just the definitive new metal record, because it does like the hip hop and the metal stuff just so perfectly. It doesn't lean in any which direction. And then Korn's self-titled album especially is incredibly influential. I mean, what are our influences is a whole fucking thing, but anyway, sorry, tangent. But I just tapped into that, and I started writing a lot of these like riffs kind of similar to what you hear in Whole. And I wrote Whole, and I was like, that's it, like that's the sound, you know. I just, you know, like the phaser, the wing wing wing, I was like, damn, that just fits, that just hugs the drums, and that just hugs everything so perfectly. And so I just kind of was like, okay, let's see if I can write a song with like a faster tempo, but basically kind of like the same vibe. And that was when I started writing Spine. And so, and then once I had Whole and Spine, and don't look it in the eyes off of the record that nobody has heard yet, but we actually dropped an album trailer. We actually just dropped an album trailer like yesterday or the other day or whatever, and there's a little snippet of that song in there. I'm gonna let people guess which song is in there. I put 3 unreleased parts in that album trailer. So, but yeah, Don't Look It in the Eyes was just kind of like a song that I was like, I just thought of this really cool like part. I'm like, wow, this is just really dark, and I don't know. It's just one of those happy accident songs. This record, that's really the best way to put it. Is this record is full of happy accidents because it was a lot of me just kind of figuring shit out. But like once I had Hole and I had Spine written, the rest of the record just kind of wrote itself for the most part. But you know, when the whole record is kind of based around the first 3 frets of the guitar, I found myself being very limited by what works and what doesn't. I'm like, well, how do I write heavy nu metal without either being metalcore or deathcore? You know, how do I keep it nu metal? How do I stay as true to the influences as I can? Because my biggest pet peeve was always like a band that claims to be nu metal or nu metalcore or whatever. And then they're just deathcore with like a phaser pedal. You know, it's just like, which these days I'm like, nah, that is good. But like at the time I was like a purist. I was like, no, it's got to be like this. I don't know. Excellent. But yeah, I mean, the recording process, it was very rewarding. Just because like, I mean, you know, I'm not this like industry guy that's like rich and famous and he has nothing to do but write music. You know, I work, I have, you know, I'm a person and stuff, so it's like I'm working these shitty fucking dishwasher jobs and shit like when I was 20, and it would like, I mean, I lost sleep, I skipped meals, I canceled plans, I ghosted dates. You know, it was like nothing else was really allowed to matter once I like realized I'm like, this could be like a thing, you know, like once that kind of seed was planted in my mind, nothing else really mattered to me. And it was come home from whatever shitty ass job I was working at the time and work on the record. And I mean, some nights I would come home at like 11 p.m. and I would just work straight up until I had to work at noon again the next day. I wouldn't even sleep, you know, I mean, so I mean, I guess that's kind of...
So, but the result, Shaq, is incredible. Yeah. So keep on doing that kind of things because we really like. And sorry, but I'm going to ask you if you can in future, you have to make an Alice in Chains cover. I like no, Manu tiene un tono de voz. A mí me gusta, yo soy un fanático, pero tiene. You have a really aggressive voice, you know, for us, and maybe in some future, if you make an Alice in Chains cover, then send to us, please. Sí, no, nunca lo hago esto. Sí, it's the first time that I ask this kind of things in 5 years, so sorry for that. Sí.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's funny is like we've actually gotten a couple requests to do covers, not specifically an Alice in Chains cover, but I mean, a couple people have been like, "Oh, I can hear you covering this song by this band," and I'm like, you
have to make Man in a Box.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Excellent.
We've actually thought about like, well, when I say we, I mean I have like kind of considering. I've kind of been considering at some point, sometime down the road, dropping just like a whole like record of just covers, but like that. Well, I mean, not like heavily considering it, but just like that would be kind of cool to do. Just because like there's a lot of songs that I think in the 157 font could sound really good. Exactly. Couple Rammstein or Rammstein, however the hell you say it. Couple songs from them, I'm like, we could crush that, you know what I mean? Or like Aerials by System of a Down would probably be a really good one.
Nice.
You know, probably like anything by Korn, just because, you know, listen to any of our music, you'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's...
But I can notice the Korn influence, and we want to make dos preguntas más, Manu. Two questions because we are running out of time. Sorry, I can spend all day talking about heavy metal. You know, I love that.
Absolutely.
But we have a small amount of money of time, so please, can you tell us the scene of Michigan? You have a lot of heavy metal there, or there are a lot of music going going on?
Yeah. There is a lot of music that comes out of Michigan. Some noteworthy ones. We have like We Came as Romans, For the Fallen Dreams, I See Stars, I Prevail. There's a ton. There's a good handful of different like bigger bands. But then as far as like the local scene goes, it's a local scene. There's a lot of like politics, not really politics, but like it's very like people are passionate, but they don't really know where to like put their stat points. You know what I mean? But I mean, nothing against local music or anything. But yeah, I mean, it's the Michigan scene is cool. It's kind of just like it's probably like a lot of other bands or a lot of other scenes where it's like just a revolving door of like bands that like start up and then they do stuff for a while and then they end, and some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them are terrible, some of them are boring, some of them are great.
Perfect.
But I mean, you know, I'm not like a show goer. I work shows for a living, so it's like anytime I like go to a show as a patron, I'm just like, man, I'm not even being paid to be here right now. This sucks. But yeah, I mean, the Michigan scene is alive and well, and yeah.
Perfect. So, and you're part of the metal scene, and we want to know one more thing. See, just to finish the interview, because I like the name of the song, and you are going to title the album like that. We are going to play a word I was never part of. Can you say what that song represents to you? Just to close the interview.
Yeah, no, I mean, a world I was never a part of, which, fun fact, I didn't think to make it the title track for the record until like a month before dropping it. It had like I don't know. But no, I mean, it kind of just encapsulates what the record is about, and it's kind of, you know, I kind of touch on a lot of like subjects about like kind of similar to Spine, where it's like, you know, cancel culture and all that type of shit, where it's like people don't really care about being just or like having peace. They just care about like having attention and control. It's like they kind of, people like that just kind of like weaponize real problems that real people go through, and they use that to like have like the upper hand in like the who's the cool guy kind of game. And you know, it's like, you don't have to be the best person ever. Just be real. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to give a shit about everything all the time. And so it touches on that, but then it also kind of, to me, it's kind of a song that talks about like, you motherfuckers are just like the bullies I dealt with when I was a kid. When that's kind of what the record is about. That's kind of why the imagery is the way it is with like the cover of the torn up doll, is because it's like, I talk a lot about mental illness and childhood trauma and overcoming that, and you know, all that type of stuff. So it's just kind of like, you know, it's kind of a song that's about like, you know, I've never been perfect, but at least I'm not fucking fake. You know what I mean? Like at least I wear my shortcomings and the shit that I may have done wrong, shit I handled poorly, whatever. You know, I wear that as a badge of honor because it means that I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to grow. You motherfuckers are so scared of being wrong, and you know that you're not willing to have a real conversation with people, and you know it's just, that's just kind of what it's to me it made sense to be the title track, because it just kind of encapsulates every subject in the record just like perfectly. So yeah.
Beautiful. Jack, it's been a pleasure to speak with you. Maybe we are going to Manu, de vuelta, no, we are going to meet again and only talk about metal. Sí. Only talk about metal. Thank you very much, Jack, for your time. Sí, it's been a really pleasure.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Llévatelo, Raulo. Todo tuyo.
Chao. Bye.